A big league for little players. A big league for little players. Focus question. What is Little League and why it is it such a popular sport? Introduction. Joe Lester takes a short lead of first base. Japan leads 1-0 in the third inning. As the sun sets behind the bleachers, the players start to notice the bright glow of the lights above the field. The grass here smells different, almost as if it's been waiting a whole year for the kids to come back to play. Cody Walker steps to the plate to face pitcher Go Matsumoto. We've seen two great pitching performances so far today. Kelly Carter has been at his best pitching for the U.S. team. Back home in June, there were only about 50 people in the stands. Now it's a guest, and there are almost 5,000 and even more are watching on national TV. All those weekend practices and stretching exercises paid off. The boys are playing in the 2006 Little League World Series. Here's the pitch. Every game is exciting, but this is the championship game. The players are no longer representing just their team or their state. Now they represent the whole United States. There it goes. No doubt about it, the ball is out of here. It's a 2-run home run by Cody Walker, and the USA takes a 2-1 lead. Wow, what a moment for this young man and his teammates. That ended up being the game-winning play. Cody's team from Columbus, Georgia, went on to win the Little League World Series championship game 2-1. The spectators watched as players and their families jumped for joy. Gloves and caps flew through the air. A similar sense plays out every summer in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, as some of the best baseball teams from around the world play in the Little League World Series. This is a popular event today, but how did Little League baseball get to this point? Baseball begins. Experts cannot agree on when the game of baseball began. Games with balls and sticks have a long history around the world. Baseball is similar to older games, including the British games of cricket and rounders, but baseball has its own rule and equipment. In 1744, the word baseball first appeared in print, which helps us know that the game existed at the time. Baseball became popular during the Civil War in the mid-1800s. Soldiers used it as a diversion and played it in their free time. Professional baseball began around the end of the Civil War. The first major league was organized in 1871. It became the National League in 1876. By the 1890s, baseball was so popular that it became known as the United States national pastime. In 1901, a second major league formed, the American League. The first World Series, which matches the champions of the American and National Leagues, took place in 1903. The Boston Americans beat the Pittsburgh Pirates in 8 games, making them the best baseball team in the United States. History of Little League baseball. For as long as there has been baseball, there have been kids eager to play it. Before there were television, many children would rush home from school and huddle around the radio to listen to their favorite team's games. Sometimes they would pretend to be one of the star players. No, wait, you're Mickey Mantle, and I'm Jackie Robinson. Families living on farms set aside land for a baseball diamond. City kids played stickball in the streets using broomsticks for bats and mailboxes for trees for the base. Vacant lots there were turning into playing fields. Winning was great, but the joy of playing a sport with your friends was just as important. Playing baseball was fun, but it was not very well organized. Then came Kroll's status. When Kroll was a boy, the older kids would not let him play baseball with them. When he grew up, he wanted to give all young boys a chance to play baseball. His hope was that an organized league would teach boys the ideals of sportsmanship, fair play, and teamwork. Instead of knocking on doors to see whether their friends could come out to play, now kids could be on a team, play scheduled games, and be coached on how to play better. In 1939, Scouts formed Little League Baseball in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The league have only 30 players and 3 teams. He received donations from local businesses. He was the manager of the Lycoming Dairy team. He asked 2 brothers to coach 2 other teams, Lundy Lumber and Jumbo Pretzel. With $30 for each team, he bought uniforms for all the players. Players' moms sewed them team names on the uniforms. Teams had to share gloves as well as the only catcher's mask. The teams played on a vacant lot. In 1947, 12 teams played in the first Little League tournament that would later become the World Series. The Maynard Midget get Williamsport beat Lock Haven Little League in the championship game. About 2,000 fans turned out. Despite the August heat, and a great tradition was born. As news of the league spread, teams quickly formed all over the country. Any boy aged 9 to 13 could play Little League baseball. He could be any race, religion, or color. Girls were not allowed to play until 1974. By 1978, the league grew to 94 teams. Today, about 2.7 million children play on Little League teams not only in the United States but also around the world. Now teams get to the championship. Now more than 100,000 teams compete in different divisions. A player's age determines the division in which he or she plays. The Little League, the most famous division, has teams of 11 and 12-year-old players. Each local Little League team is part of a district that includes teams from the same area. In June, the best players from each district were chosen to be part of an all-star team, which has no more than 14 players. The coach and manager for the all-star team, which has no more than 14 players. The coach and manager for the all-star team are also chosen. In July, these teams play in many tournaments to narrow the field of competitors. By August, only 16 teams remain in the Little League baseball division. They have earned a trip to Howard J. Lemay Stadium in Williamsport for the Little League World Series. Game by game, teams are eliminated until 2 remain. One team is from one of the 80 countries outside the United States that compete in Little League, and one team is from the United States. These final 2 teams play a game to determine the Little League World Series champion. The 2006 Little League World Series. For the 2006 Little League World Series, teams from as far away as Saudi Arabia and Russia made it to Williamsport in the late August. Kawaguchi City, Japan, won the international championship over Matamoros, Mexico. By a score of 3-0, Japan's star player, Go Matsumoto, hit a home run and was brought in as a relief pitcher to get his team out of a bases-loaded, no-outs bind. In the U.S. Championship game, the team from Columbus, Georgia, defeated the Beaverton Oregon team 7-3. It was up to Georgia to carry the banner of the United States against Japan in the World Series championship game, and carry it they did. Georgia's pitching phenom Kyle Carter struck out 11 batters and gave up only 3 hits. Matsumoto's pitching kept the game close, but the Georgia team won to take the series from the United States for the second year in a row. It was a quiet feat as the Kawaguchi City team had been undefeated. Conclusion. The Little League World Series continues to grow and change. More than 300,000 people attended tournament games in 2006, and the games were televised around the United States. When second baseman Josh Lester of Columbus, Georgia, fielded the last out of the championship game, the crowd broke into cheers and chanted, "USA! USA!" In true Little League spirit, the Georgia team remembers asked the Kawaguchi City players to join them in a victory lap around the field. This proves that Little League school remains the same after decades of growth. To provide a game that teaches players the principles they should use as good citizens of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll see you next year for another exciting Little League World Series. Explore more. To learn more about Little League baseball and softball, visit the website www.littleleague.org. For Little League World Series history, including records and more famous former players, visit the website www.littleleague.org World Series.